All right, so get ready, because today we are going deep, deep, deep into ancient history. Like, seriously ancient. We're talking pyramids.
Pyramids, yeah.
But here's the thing. We're not dusting off old textbooks for this one. Our source material, it's MrBeast's YouTube channel. He actually got some crazy access to explore the pyramids, like stuff most people never get to see.
You know, I have to admit, that's a pretty cool perspective to see them through. It's like a fresh take on these ancient wonders.
Right. And that's kind of the whole point of this deep dive. We're not just going to like rehash the same old facts. It's more about using MrBeast's experience to like jumpstart a conversation, explore the mysteries, the controversies, all that. So he starts the Big Kahuna, the Great Pyramid of Giza. I mean, even just seeing it on a screen, the scale of this thing is just, whoa.
It's seriously impressive.
Yeah.
And the video really captures that feeling of awe, especially when they go inside the king's chamber. It's supposed to be where Pharaoh Khufu was laid to rest.
And it's right there that MrBeast asks a question that I'm sure a lot of people have thought about before. Just how much of the Great Pyramid has actually been explored? And the answer is, we don't actually know for sure.
Yeah, there's so much debate about hidden chambers and secret passageways. Like, the Great Pyramid is this giant puzzle that we haven't fully solved yet.
Oh, speaking of puzzles, remember that 300-foot tunnel he goes down? It leads to a decoy chamber. Talk about extreme home security, ancient Egyptian style.
Right. But, it's more than just security. It's about their beliefs about the afterlife,
Yeah.
The pharaoh's journey to the next world was dangerous, and these decoys were meant to protect him, like throw off evil spirits and tomb robbers, so the pharaoh could smoothly transition into the afterlife.
Wow, so it's like a spiritual obstacle course built right into the pyramid. And speaking of journeys, did you see that climb to the top of the pyramid, the highest point inside the pyramid?
Oh, yeah. Apparently, fewer people have been up there than in space.
So from the Great Pyramid, MrBeast and the crew move on to the Pyramid of Khafre. And this way's got something special, a partially preserved casing.
This is a big deal. It gives us a glimpse of how the pyramids were supposed to look, like not the rough, stepped exterior we see today. They were covered in these smooth, polished stones that would have reflected the sun.
So instead of these like giant stone blocks, they were blinged out, basically.
Exactly. Imagine how that would have looked, shimmering in the desert sun.
It's wild to think about, but there's more to it than just looking pretty, right?
Oh, for sure. The Egyptians worshipped Ra, the sun god. So, reflecting the sun's rays, it connected the pyramids to Ra's power, visually. It was all about emphasizing the pharaoh's connection to the divine.
Okay, so the whole pyramid was like a giant shimmering religious symbol.
Pretty much. And beneath all that, you had the subterranean chambers to explore, including, of course, another little fake out with a burial chamber.
Oh, yeah. So they thought they'd found Khafre's tomb, but it was just a storage room from way back when.
Yep, and the actual burial chamber. Deeper down, of course.
Yeah.
Got to keep that pharaoh's journey safe.
These ancient Egyptians loved their decoys. But in the real chamber, they found even more graffiti, right? This time from the explorer who first found the tomb in the 1800s.
Yeah, it's like a layer cake of history, each generation adding their own little piece to the story.
Like a conversation across centuries. Okay, so last pyramid of Giza, the Pyramid of Menkaure. This one's famous for its super complicated passageways.
This pyramid actually has decorative carvings in the first chamber, unlike the earlier ones. It's like you can see how styles changed over time, even back then.
So each pyramid is like a snapshot of Egyptian culture at a specific moment.
Exactly. And then there's the king's chamber with its vaulted ceiling. It shows just how much they knew about engineering back then. I mean, no modern tools to help them.
Makes you think how much work went into all of this. And get this, Menkaure had 3 smaller pyramids built nearby just for his wives.
It really shows you how important family was, even in the afterlife.
So even in death, pharaohs got to roll with their entourage. That's pretty cool. But okay, enough about pyramids for a second. What about the Sphinx? MrBeast had to go see that too, right?
Of course. You can't go to Egypt and skip the Sphinx. It's just shrouded in so much mystery. It's like a magnet for conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah. And MrBeast, being MrBeast, he decides to, play with one of those theories. The one about a hidden gold-filled temple underneath.
Oh, right. He even buries one of his gold swarm collectibles as a joke.
It's funny, but it also makes you think, right? What if there are secret treasures hidden in these places?
People have been wondering about that for centuries.
For sure. But from the Sphinx, they go to a place that gives you a real glimpse of daily life in ancient Egypt. The tomb of Imari, who was a high priest. What's so special about this one?
The paintings. The paintings inside are unbelievably well preserved. We're talking scenes from over 4,600 years ago. Daily life, religious stuff, even winemaking. It shows that even though thousands of years have passed, some things are just part of being human.
Absolutely. And the crazy part is these paintings aren't just pretty pictures, right? They're packed with information about Egyptian culture.
Oh, totally. It's like a visual encyclopedia of their world, their beliefs, how society worked.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I can only imagine what it would have been like to actually live back then in that world.
That's what keeps archaeologists and historians going, trying to understand the past piece by piece. And places like Menkaure tomb, they give us the clues to do that.
Okay, so we've seen the outside of these massive pyramids. We've gone down into the chambers below. But now, get this, we're going even deeper, like into the heart of the Great Pyramid.
That's right, MrBeast and his crew. They got to go to this super exclusive spot, like way up high inside the pyramid.
Yeah, this chamber is so hidden. Only like less than 50 people in modern times have ever been there.
Talk about VIP access.
Right, but getting there wasn't easy. It wasn't like hop on the elevator going up.
No. They had to crawl through these like super tight passageways, squeeze through small spaces, even use ropes to climb.
Just watching it on the video made me claustrophobic.
It really gives you a sense of like how challenging it is to explore these places, even with all our modern gear.
Totally. But okay, so they finally make it to this hidden chamber and you think, all right, treasure, gold, jewels. But no.
No, the real treasure's on the walls. Graffiti left by the workers who built the pyramid.
Hold up. So like actual ancient graffiti inside the Great Pyramid.
Oh, yeah. But not like fancy hieroglyphs or anything. This is more like, what, ancient construction worker graffiti. Names of work gangs, dates, little doodles.
It's kind of cool though, right? Like these people who've been like faceless figures in history books for so long, now we get a little glimpse into their lives.
Exactly. And it tells us some pretty interesting things too. Like one of the big debates is whether the pyramid builders were slaves, right? But some of this graffiti, it refers to the work gangs by name.
Okay.
Names like Friends of Khufu or even like the drinking ones. You know, it suggests more of a like camaraderie, you know, maybe even a sense of humor.
So they were like ancient construction crews with their rivalries and inside jokes.
Right.
Whoops.
And some of the markings might even be early forms of accounting, like record keeping.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so it might mean that literacy was more widespread than we thought, not just for scribes and the elite.
So these simple little markings could actually rewrite history.
They definitely can challenge what we thought we knew.
It's pretty incredible how much fascination there still is with ancient Egypt. Why do you think people are still so drawn to it, even in the 21st century?
I think maybe it's because we're still trying to figure out our own place in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And here's this civilization that achieved these incredible things thousands of years ago. They were wrestling with the big questions of life and death, just like we are.
It's like even though so much time has passed, we still share those same fundamental human concerns.
Right. And there's also the mystery, right? We're still uncovering secrets about ancient Egypt. Every new discovery just adds to the intrigue.
So the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know.
Exactly. It's what makes studying the past so fascinating. It's a never-ending journey of discovery.
Okay, so last question. If we could ask the ancient Egyptians just one question about the pyramids, what would it be? What mystery would you want solved?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one. What do you think? What secrets do you think are still hidden in those stones?
It really makes you think, you know? Archaeology, it's not just about digging stuff up. It's like piecing together a story, trying to understand what these people were thinking, what they believed.
Yeah. And every time we find something new, our understanding of the past changes a bit. It's a constant process, you know, always rethinking, reevaluating.
Totally. Which is why it's so important to approach these ancient sites with, like, respect and humility. We can't just look at the past through our modern lens.
Oh, absolutely. We got to try to understand it on its own terms. I mean, think about it. The ancient Egyptians, they had beliefs and practices that might seem strange to us now.
Speaking of different practices, remember that scene where they're excavating the workman's tomb?
Oh, yeah, where they found that skeleton. Still in its original position after all this time.
I know. And get this, it was so well preserved, they could even see the spine.
It's amazing, isn't it, to think that we can still see the remains of the people who, you know, actually built these incredible structures.
It really puts a human face on it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes you realize the human cost of these massive projects. And by studying the skeleton, archaeologists can learn so much, about their diet, their health, the kind of work they did.
It's like CSI Ancient Egypt.
Right. It helps us understand the whole picture, not just the pharaohs and the architects, but the everyday people.
Totally. But it wasn't all like serious archaeology and deep thoughts with MrBeast. He still managed to have some fun along the way.
Oh, yeah. MrBeast be MrBeast, right. I love that bit where he tries to prove that conspiracy about a hidden gold temple under the Sphinx.
I know, right? By burying one of his gold swarm things.
It was hilarious, but also kind of clever, playing with those popular myths and legends.
Yeah, and it keeps things fun, It reminds us that exploring the past doesn't have to be, like, boring.
Exactly. It can be an adventure.
And I think that's what makes MrBeast's approach so cool, especially for younger people. He takes this, like, ancient stuff and makes it exciting, makes it relevant.
He's like opening door to the past for a whole new audience.
Totally. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what are your final thoughts? What do you hope people take away from all this?
Well, I hope it sparks a sense of wonder, There's so much out there to discover, so much we still don't know about the past.
It's a journey that never really ends, does it?
Nope. And as we've seen with MrBeast, it can be a pretty amazing journey full of surprises, laughs, and maybe even a little bit of awe.
I think that's a great note to end on. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows, maybe they'll make the next big discovery. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the pyramids. We'll see you next time.